You're not lazy, your body is stopping you. Let's talk about motivation because this is one of the biggest struggles people face. You know what you need to do, you know what would improve your life, you know the actions that matter. But when it comes time to actually do them, you just don't feel like it. You feel flat, you feel low in energy, unmotivated, and most people immediately go to the same conclusion. I need more discipline. I need to push harder. And I need to fix my mindset. But here's the truth. Motivation is not just mental, it's biological. And it's heavily controlled by something called dopamine. Now, you've probably heard of dopamine. It's often called the motivation chemical, and that's partly true. Dopamine is involved in like drive and focus and the feeling of wanting to do something. When dopamine is working well, things feel easier. You feel engaged, you feel switched on, you feel like taking action. But when dopamine is low, everything feels heavy. Simple tasks feel like effort. Things you know you should do feel hard to start. And this is where most people go wrong. They think, okay, I just need to boost my dopamine. So they turn to caffeine and supplements and stimulation or literally forcing themselves through it. But that doesn't fix the real problem because dopamine is not the starting point. It's the result of what's happening in your body. So instead of asking, how do I boost dopamine? A better question is, what is influencing my dopamine? Because that's where the real control is. So let's make this simple. Your body is always making decisions based on energy. It's constantly asking, do we have enough fuel for this? Because from a survival perspective, if energy is low, the goal is not action, the goal is conservation. So what does your body do? It literally reduces motivation. It lowers dopamine signaling. It slows you down, not because you're lazy, because it's protecting you. This is one of the most important shifts you can make. Low motivation is not a discipline problem. It's an energy problem. Your body is saying, we don't have enough resources right now. Let's not push. And your brain translates that into, I don't feel like doing this. Now think about how often this happens. You sit there knowing exactly what you need to do, but you just can't get yourself to do it. And you start blaming yourself. But it's not you, it's the signal. Now let's connect this to the bigger system. Dopamine doesn't operate on its own. It's influenced by what's happening underneath. Things like your energy levels, your information levels, your gut health, because all of these shape the signals going to your brain. And if your body is inflamed, energy production becomes less efficient. When energy drops, dopamine drops. When dopamine drops, motivation drops. So you can't isolate dopamine and fix it directly. You have to work upstream. Now, let's make this even clearer. Have you ever had a day where everything feels easy? You're focused, you're productive, you're getting things done without resistance. And then another day, everything feels heavy. Same life, same responsibilities, exactly the same goals, different state. Why? Because your internal signals changed. Not your personality, not your discipline, your biology. This is where things become powerful. Because if dopamine is being shaped by your body, then you can change it. Not by forcing motivation, but by changing the signals that control it. And this is where we make it practical, because this only matters if you can use it. So let's simplify it into 4 key things. First, fix your energy. If your energy is unstable, your motivation will be unstable. Every crash in energy tells your body now is not the time to push. So instead of trying to force yourself forward, stabilize your energy. This means paying attention to how you eat, avoiding big spikes and crashes, and making sure your body has consistent fuel. Because when your energy stabilizes, motivation starts to return. You don't have to force it. Second, reduce inflammation. Inflammation is one of the biggest disruptors of your internal signals. When your body is inflamed, it sends a message to your brain, something isn't right. And when your brain hears that, it doesn't push you into action, it actually pulls you back. So if you consistently or constantly feel flat, low, and unmotivated, there's a good chance inflammation is part of the picture. And that often comes from gut issues, food responses, and poor recovery. So instead of trying to boost dopamine, you reduce the interference, and that's when the interference drops. Your natural drive starts to come back. Third, support your gut. This is one people underestimate. Your gut is one of the main sources of signals that influences your brain. If your gut is off, your signals are off, and dopamine is affected by those signals. So even something simple, like eating the skins of 1 or 2 apples in the morning, can begin to support the bacteria that improve gut signaling over time. And when gut signals improve, so does immune balance, so does inflammation, and so does brain function. Small input, big effect. Fourth, stop relying on willpower. This is where most people burn out. They try to force themselves into action while their body is pulling them in the opposite direction. This creates friction, and over time, that friction wears you down. But when your body is working with you, you don't need as much force, and things feel easier, more natural, more automatic. And that's how it's supposed to feel. Now, here's the most important part. You don't need to do all of these perfectly. You don't need to change everything at once. You just need to start. Pick one thing, just one, and begin to notice. Notice how your body responds. Notice how your energy feels. Notice how your motivation changes. Because once you see the connection, everything changes. You literally stop guessing. You stop blaming yourself, and you start understanding what's actually happening on the inside. And this is where this becomes truly powerful, because for a lot of people, this is the moment where something clicks inside. They realize they're not broken. They're not lazy. They're not lacking discipline. They've just been trying to fix the wrong thing. They've been trying to fix the output instead of the system producing it. And once you see that, you literally can't unsee it. You start looking at everything differently. You start asking better questions. Not how do I force myself to do this, but what is my body telling my brain right now? Because that's where the truth is. And when you start working at that level, things begin to shift in an incredible way. Not necessarily overnight, not perfectly, but consistently. You feel clearer, a little more stable, a little more truly you. And that builds, it really does. So instead of chasing motivation, you build the conditions that allow motivation to happen. Instead of forcing dopamine, you support the system that produces it. And instead of fighting yourself, you start working with your biology. And that's the shift. That's where control comes from. So if you take one thing from this, make it this. You are not unmotivated because you're lazy. You're unmotivated because your body is sending the wrong signals. And once you understand that, everything changes. You stop fighting yourself. You stop forcing things that feel impossible. And you start working with your biology instead of against it. Because motivation is not something you create. It's something your body allows. And when your body has stable energy, low inflammation, and the right signals, drive naturally comes back. Focus comes back. Momentum comes back. Not because you pushed harder, but because your body is finally supporting you. And this is the part most people never get taught. You don't fix your life by forcing more discipline. You fix your life by fixing the signals underneath it. That's where the real control is. So start simple. Pick one thing, choose one signal, and watch what happens. Because once that shift starts, it builds. And when it builds, everything in your life changes. And in the next video, I'm going to show you something even more important. Your mood is not actually coming from your brain like you think. It's coming from your gut, where serotonin is made. And once you see that, you'll understand why so many people feel low for no reason, and how to actually change it by working with your body, not against it. Until then, remember, healing is easy. I'll see you in the next video.